those are the moments that really stood out and go, man, we did have fun yesterday, but man, there's nothing like being in the presence of God with God's people.
Yeah.
And until you experience it, man, like I'm telling you, man, like I know people argue this all day long, but I'm not at the mercy of an argument because I had the experience.
We live in the now and the not yet. So when I say we live in the now, we have these opportunities for these extraordinary moments and these ordinary moments. You just described an extraordinary moment and it was great, but you described this ordinary moment that was eternal. And that's all we can do right now is be in the now. When you're living in the now, I feel like the reference to Spaceballs. We're in now.
Now. When?
Just then. Right now. Now.
What happened to then? Missed it. When? Just now.
But literally, we live in the now.
Well, hello and welcome to another episode of the podcast with your friends Rhett and Justin right here at Armchair Authentic, where we're stewarding our stories in a way that serve you. We're having real conversations about real life with real people, and today we have another great episode for you. We can't wait to get into it, but before we do, always want to take a moment to say thank you to every single one of you who have taken the time to follow us on social media. In fact, if you're new to the episode today, we want to say welcome, friends. It is so good to have you with us. In fact, could we encourage you, if you've not already done so, could you go to Facebook or Instagram and follow us? You can find us there at Armchair Authentic. That's at Armchair Authentic. Or you can go on over to X and you can find us there as well at Armchair Auth Pod. That's Armchair Auth, AUTHPOD. One thing we've been encouraging every single one of you to do, and that is, if you're enjoying the conversations and the episodes, could you do us a huge favor? Would you take a moment to copy the link from your favorite podcast platform, send that to a friend, text it to a friend? Hey, how about airdropping it to your coworkers right now? I'm sure they could enjoy a mid-afternoon or early morning pick-me-up. So wherever you are, we want to say thank you so much for doing that. And for those who are doing it for the first time, it really means so much to Justin and I. Thank you so much for sharing the journey and the love of Armchair Authentic with a friend. All right, everybody, the moment you've all been waiting for, our conversation begins right now. So Justin and I, we typically have these pre-conversations before the conversation. And one of the things we were talking about, as I have my dog, Molly, golden retriever. Oh, sorry, Molly. I totally offended her. She's looking at me like, don't you know what kind of dog I am?
She's like, I got a little more bougie to my retriever.
She's a golden doodle. And she's sitting here in her little beanbag chair that she uses inside the studio. And we were talking about just grooming habits for some reason. We got on that, and you were asking me how often do we groom Molly? And we're like, wait a minute, let's just hit record and just start here.
Yeah, because I'm learning. This is new for me.
Yeah,
I'm a new dog owner.
Because you are a new dog owner, and which you've mentioned the other day. And so you're a dog lover, dog owner, and you've got Lido. Let's go.
So we've had Lido a while, but we just don't want to. There was a process, as we talked about last week.
Yeah.
It was like a shared custody.
Yeah.
And so months ago, we really took him on officially, but we're still just trying to make sure, everything work out in the house. With us, we're not allergic to dogs, but outside, we do have some family members who are allergic to some of the stuff outside, and he brings it in the house.
Yeah.
We're trying to learn and see what this full calendar year looks like. Everybody loves him, but it's important to have a clean dog. Yeah. And that's what you were talking about.
Yeah. And you were asking me how often do we groom Molly? And I said, I don't know, every 2.5 months. And you were like, well, that's, it's not a cheap. You're starting to learn that, grooming is not, it's not cheap. It's expensive.
Costs some dollars.
Yeah. And so I shared with you, I think the last time this little place, and some people might be listening to this thinking this is a deal, and it might be, but for $110, and so you're like, how often do you do that? A month? I'm like, Heck no. So maybe every 2.5, months or whatever, just when she needs it. We do take good care of her, and we try to keep her clean and everything at the house too. But and you were saying something about taking Lido into, giving him a bath is, very often.
That's because the way, if you want to picture this, the way our house is set up, it's 2-level house. You have your main level you walk onto, you can go upstairs, but we also have a finished basement. That's where the gaming activities, the kids who want to play. That's usually my office, my makeshift office that's been taken over by Dax.
Of course.
With his gaming stuff and drums, all that stuff. But there is a bathroom that we have downstairs. It's like the shower nobody uses. Mm-hmm. But it's cool. We get a bathroom downstairs. Awesome. Now we've officially called it Lido Shower because me and Summer have...
I'm sorry. You now officially call it Lido Shower?
Well, it is. He's the only one who's ever used the shower in our house. It's great. It's a great little bathroom. And so Lido, we want to make sure that he stays clean, and we let him stay on the main level of our house. Mm-hmm. Where he can walk out the back door. There's actually a doggy door that came with our house that worked out good. So he can come in and out as long as we keep the main door open. But when he comes in, he knows not to go upstairs. We even have a baby gate where it's like, you don't come upstairs.
He's fully trained.
He's fully trained. No bathroom accidents. He came from the academy, Rhett.
So he's an elitist. He's an elito. He's not just Lido. He's Elito.
He's not. Yeah, Elito. That's going to be his moniker. He's not Lido. He is Elito. All right, I need to mark this for Summer and the boys to hear this. We have a new name for Lido. Lido is now Elito.
Elito.
Oh yeah,
I love it.
So anytime he does something he's not supposed to, we're like, you graduated from the academy. Like, what are you doing, dog? And so we've probably...
You're smarter than this.
We've probably untrained a lot of this stuff because we just don't know completely what we're doing. But I did for the first time. Usually we do it kind of in tandem of washing the dog. But Summer was cleaning the house, doing some things. And I just wanted to man up and say, hey, I'm going to clean this dog because he was starting to stink. So I hate a stinky dog.
How is that going?
Well, when he sees me starting to lead him down into the gaming room, he knows he's not allowed down there.
So he knows what's coming.
He knows something because he just sits down and stares.
He's smart, yeah.
And I finally have to put like the harness on him where I can just drag him until he comes with me. Like, we're going downstairs, Lido.
Whether you like it or not,
we're going.
You're about to get a bath.
He's about 80 pounds. So, I mean, he's a big dog. He is a golden retriever, and he is every bit of it, over 2 years old now. And so I took him down in there, and I turn on the shower. I get the gloves ready. I mean, I'll wash the mess out of that dog. And you know me, I probably overdo things. So I probably put like 3 different washings of, rinsed him off, another thing of our shampoo, the doggy shampoo. I mean, going crazy on him. You can see the dirt coming out down the faucet or the drain. By the time it's done, it's just white suds. So he is clean. It's a whole process. Dry him off with a towel. Go take him for a long walk to help him air dry. Yeah. And now I got a clean doggy at the house. Elito.
Now I got a clean doggy at the house.
I do, man.
That's great.
I was asking you because I don't know this world, and we've tried some of these businesses in town.
Yeah.
And they've done a good job, but the price they are it doesn't keep up with the amount of baths that I would prefer a dog to have if they're going to stay in my house.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just a little weird like that.
The dog spas now it's gone to a whole nother level, man. I mean, the stuff that they offer these dogs, I'm like, man, I don't even treat myself to this kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think I'm going to give my dog.
No, we are such a society.
We do the doggy massage and, the doggy facial. And I'm like, I think we're good. I think just give them a nice bath, cut her and make her look nice. And we're good.
We have been so domesticated as people because before it snowed a few weeks ago, I mean, Summer ordered these little boots for him at Petco. And I went in to go pick these boots out. And I mean, he looked like little Curious George with his little yellow.
How did he do with that?
Boots. He hated them. I mean, he walked around like one awkward dog. I mean, people were probably thinking like, oh, he's sweet. He's walking his, challenged dog over here. But no, I finally took him off. And he played in the snow all day to the point that when people are talking about don't leave your animals outside. Now I know I'm going to start something here. I'm sorry. I guess this is the controversy we're going to bring today in the canine world. But I took those boots off. He was looking funky. I mean, I was running his groove to all the doggy ladies in the neighborhood. I mean, he probably felt really weird in his little yellow stockings. And so I took those things off. And, you know, people are like, well, he's going to get cold. The dog is rolling around in the snow. He can't get enough of it.
No, right. Yeah,
He's not getting cold. And I went ahead and got a little more bold.
They were built and designed by God for that fur.
And I'm trying to help him discover his purpose because we've domesticated him so much. He thinks he's a human.
Yeah.
So I have to remind him when we step out of the house, even if it's 40, 30 degrees and we're going to be gone an hour, I'm confessing it. I send him outside. And you know how he shows me how much he hates it? He's running around having a blast.
Oh, he's having a ball.
He's having a blast. And when we get home and open the door, he does not come back in.
No.
Because he's having a great time in the backyard.
Yeah.
And so he was made for this.
Yeah. The dog is made for that type of weather.
They really
now,
are.
if it were 15 degrees outside,
I get it.
I would say,
I do understand. You know. We have a house.
Yeah.
And we'll bring him in. But still, we went and bought one of those igloos.
Yeah. He's got a place to stay warm
Technically,
outside.
he can get on that. He can get in that igloo on the porch, and it could be 15 degrees, and it's going to be warmer than that. The wind currents aren't going to make it through.
Yeah.
So I've read. And in the heat, I can leave him out in Alabama 100-degree weather.
So we're not going to do hashtag PETA on this episode.
Except the igloo will keep him cool. At least that's what it says.
At least that's what it says, yeah.
No, we spoil him, man. We don't let him stay out too long, but dog life, Rhett.
Dog life. Hashtag.
I'm learning from you.
Well, I don't
you
know
always
much.
had a dog growing up.
Yeah. Are we going to go there? Yeah.
Sure. I think people need to learn more about Rhett and his childhood of his dog life.
Yeah, so, you know, this is not making this stuff up, man. Like, my first dog was a miniature poodle. Like I don't know. Miniature, very small.
Very
They probably have mini minis now.
Yeah.
But this was like a miniature poodle.
Yeah, she was tiny.
Very tiny. And I have no idea. Maybe this is just the creative side of me, or maybe I just saw so many cartoons or something. I don't know. But it was a female poodle, and we're like, what are we going to name her? I was like, Fifi.
You did, yeah. And Clifford the big red dog wasn't around then, so Fifi, that character.
But like, if you ever like, it's a very stereotypical name for a female poodle,
right? Yeah,
miniature,
among others, but yeah,
among others. I don't know any other dog.
Fifi, name. There's other,
you know, but I can't. I'm laughing because Justin is just. Some people are laughing because they're like, "Ooh, Rhett had a dog named Fifi." Yeah, I did, and you know what? I'm proud of it. That dog was great. That dog did not want to die. Literally, like I don't know how old I was when we got her, but man, we had that dog forever. Graduated high school, went to college, got married, moved on, and the dog's still alive.
You come back and visit.
Eventually, we had to the vet told us like this dog, its will to live, like it's blind.
Yeah.
It can't see. It can't control itself and its bathroom behaviors at this point. It was really sad. It was like, this dog will continue to live as long as, you know, and so it was one of those moments where like the vet was looking at it, it's like, hey, it's time that she meets.
Fifi
it's time to meet Fifi's Jesus. You know? Go to doggy heaven, you know. Yeah. And I was like, okay, you know, and that was a sad moment.
In the sky.
That was a great heavenly farm in the sky. That was a sad moment, you know.
I bet it was.
Because, you know, as silly as it sounds, it's like she was a part of so many core memories and all the stuff you go through from a kid through, you know, young adult in your 20s. And it's like, what is happening right now? So,
she was a great dog. I always remember I got to come over and just aggravate her to death, and then I would leave.
We won't talk about any of the things that we did as kids.
I love Fifi.
But
you know when I loved her most though?
When
after she was groomed and she smelled good.
Yeah, of course.
And when she stunk, I didn't hang out with her that much.
Yeah, but
I'm a conditional dog lover.
Dogs, yeah, that's okay.
I am. I admit.
So you only love Elito when he smells good.
Yeah, I do love him less when he stinks, and I have to give him a bath because I want to love him.
I don't know if it's that you don't love him less; you just don't want to be around him because he smells like pig.
I don't want to be around him. But then I acknowledge, like, I've become the house that I don't smell it anymore, and I think my house might smell like dog at times.
Yeah,
you don't know
I'm sure it does.
You don't know it when you're living in it.
Well, that's why you have to ask a trusted friend.
Yeah, like you used to ask me.
Yeah,
you don't ask me anymore because my nose has been conditioned to dog. Yeah.
Well, we're always,
You would
we try to
ask me,
keep
and
her
I'd be
clean.
like, yeah, house smells great today, Rhett. You're like, another week. I'm like, yeah, you might want to light a candle.
Well, yeah, we're probably at that 3-month mark to where we need to take her in and get
Not
her bath.
today, no. You notice I'm
yeah,
petting her?
Yeah.
That's a sign she doesn't stink.
Well, you know.
I'm a conditional dog lover.
You don't want to here's the thing. If you're a dog owner, you should know this. So you just don't wash the dog. You also have to wash all the things that they lay on.
Yeah.
So like
got me there.
if so we have a designated area. It's an ingenious thing. My mother-in-law actually bought us this. It was what do you call those little beds that are for babies? I know this sounds, I'm so out of the baby game.
Bassinet?
No, but the baby beds that would go into a crib.
Yeah.
They're like waterproof, or whatever, but they're really
like
small.
The little mini mattresses.
Mini mattress. There you go.
Yeah.
They're a mini mattress. Yeah. So we have a mini mattress, and it's basically a mattress designed to go in a baby crib. But she was like, you ought to use this for Molly. And it's perfect. She can lay out on it. So we get this, baby mattress, little slip cover for it. So she lays on that. We call it her. I don't want to say it. She's in the room. BED. It's so stupid that I have to spell.
She's so
in
smart
in front of my dog.
She knows.
Yeah, because if I said it, she's gonna look at me like, where do you want? Like I can't because the door's closed to the studio. How am I gonna get there?
Yeah. And she's gonna interrupt our podcast.
Yeah, and anyways, so anytime we take her to groom, like the things she's laying on right now, the beanbag, I take that cover off the beanbag, I wash it, I take the sheet and the mattress pad and all that, and I wash it because it's amazing how the smells can linger on that stuff, man. So if you're ever wondering if your house doesn't smell like dog, if you haven't washed those things,
it
probably
might be
does.
those things.
Yeah, probably does.
It is funny. Like with us, Lido, his word is bed. Like it's
that's her word too. So
sorry.
She's
Sorry,
like,
Molly. Hey, it's time. No. It's dang it. I just said the word you said.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. It's not our word.
Oh, okay.
My bad. We say go to your room.
Okay, yeah.
We say go to your room, and he just goes straight into his,
that the crate?
his room. It's like a crate. Yeah.
So we made the mistake of calling the crate a CAGE.
Yeah.
So
Which sounds awful to people.
But my son named it because it looked like a CAGE.
Yeah.
It looked like
That's
that.
what it is. Because it is.
It is. I mean, it really is.
It doesn't sound very politically
correct. But the politically correct way is to say crate. And so, but we use that. And anytime we say that word, she immediately, no question asked, she goes right to it.
Well, you're just not wanting PETA
yeah.
to come and get us.
Yeah.
I mean, I may have already lost my dog by now that I let him outside in 33-degree weather.
I know, that's what I said, man. We just, anyway. So, so all of that to say, dog talk, man. There's you've heard of coffee talk. Remember the SNL?
Coffee.
This is dog talk.
Well, I like that
this is dog talk with Rhett and Justin.
It's really the first time we get to relate on this in our life.
It really is.
Because you've always had, or not always, but you've had a dog a lot of your life.
Well, I had her, and then Fifi, and then we moved on to Alexi. Not
you
Alexi,
did have
but
another
a
dog.
dog
That's
named
right.
Lexi. Crazy dog, man. That dog was like all over the place. It was a mutt of mutts. Couldn't train that dog for nothing. I actually, you ready for this? Fun fact. I actually had to do community service for that stupid dog.
Why?
I was living in Flower Mound, Texas.
Yeah.
I kept the dog in the backyard. The dog kept getting out of the yard. So, because I couldn't leave the dog in he was an outside dog. And so eventually I got like a nice leash that you could put to the, keep in the backyard to keep her from only going so far, put her food and water and all that stuff out there. She eventually got out of that. She kept getting out of the yard. So long story short, I kept having to go to the animal shelter to pick this dumb dog up.
No way. So someone would.
Oh yeah. So they'd call her, get it and go to the animal shelter. And then I'd get a call and I'd go pick up the dog. And then I think after the third strike and you're out, is if this continues to happen, we're going to write you a ticket. And it did. And I got a ticket.
You just
for
look like you
dog,
chose your words.
They call it dog at large.
Nice.
And I'm thinking, this dog wouldn't hurt a flea. It'll lick you to death, but it doesn't want to stay in the backyard.
Right.
So I had to go stand before a judge in Flower Mound, Texas, before a judge.
Oh, gosh.
And the judge was like, Rhett Barton, whatever. I'm like, I feel like I'm about to go to jail for this stupid dog.
Red Lamar Barton.
I don't love this dog that much. Yeah, it's like Judgment Day, Red Lamar Barton, and I'm like, yes, ma'am, or whatever.
You're like, I have not seen this since I was in a judgment house at the Baptist church down the road.
No, I'm
Where God reads off a list and he puts his glasses on.
I'm thinking that I am a, worship pastor at this point of a church in Frisco, Texas. And here I am in court standing before a judge over this dumb dog. And I love the dog, but it was stupid that I was having to do this.
Yeah.
And so, and literally just like, how do you plead? And I'm like, not guilty. And then they're like, really? You're going to plead not guilty? And I was like, well, it's at dogs. I was like, Judge, I'm trying to be respectful. I don't remember what, but I was literally like, I love this dog. The dog would lick you to death. And, I feel like I'm being like a, what do you call this dog? Like not a Doberman, but like the pit bulls.
Yes.
Like this is not a pit bull.
Right.
This is just a mud of a dog. Can I show you a picture of the dog? Like lick you to death. So I feel like I'm standing in court because I've got a dog that's going to kill somebody. Right. And that's not the case. I said, Judge, I'm doing everything I can to try to keep the dog in the backyard, keeps getting out. Well, it was almost one of those things where, do you want to reconsider your plea here? And I was like, well, guilty. I guess I'm guilty, and it's like, well, how do you can pay a fine or you can do community service. And I was like,
oh, how much is the fine?
I know it was a couple $100 and I did not have it.
Yeah.
And so I was like, well, I said, I'll do community service. She's like, okay. And I said, does church count? Serving at a church? And she said, yeah, absolutely. I said, well, that'd be great. She said, I was already serving a church. I was already a worship pastor as a church.
For real.
Right. And she said, all you need to do is have the pastor of the church sign off on however many hours it was. It was like 3 or 4 weeks. The dumbest thing.
You're like, I'll have this done in no time.
I know. And I went and told my pastor. He laughed. And of course, I was on staff and I'm there all the time anyway. So it was, it was a part-time gig at that point. But so...
That's funny,
isn't that
man.
crazy?
Yeah, standing before the judge for your dog.
I was standing before the judge for a dog at large because I couldn't keep the dumb dog in the backyard, and I did commute. It's crazy even thinking about that because it's like it's such a distant memory. That was, 30 years ago. It seems.
Well, it's funny they bring new things out in you
almost 30 years
because Summer and the boys were we have a pretty big yard that we're in a neighborhood where there's still like a lot of yard before the house is, which is really cool. Mm-hmm. But Lido, we don't let him go outside without a leash when we're walking the neighborhood, just because we don't know what he's going to do. He loves people a lot in the same way you just said. Mm-hmm. And Summer and the boys are out there like they're just getting home and they're in the yard now before they've made their way in the house. So Lido's at the door with me and I'm like, he's so fired up for them, he's just going to run to them. And so I let him go. But what I did not see is in the street, this lady is walking by with like her golden doodle.
Okay.
He completely runs past Summer.
Oh, man.
And the boys. And I'm like, no, Lido, like, no. And the lady, he's not doing anything to her yet, but he sees her coming and it makes her adjust, I guess, getting ready for what maybe is about to happen. She's got this
strange man yelling at her. She's like, what is happening? And then she looks up and sees a dog coming at her full charge.
And then she does this move and she busts on the ground.
Oh, no.
The dog didn't do anything. She busted right as Lido got to her. So the picture from anybody else, you've got Lido just kind of like licking or just kind of running around this lady. And it looks like he just went and pile drived her on the ground.
Oh, my gosh.
And so all I know to do is I turn around like I don't know who the dog is, and I just go inside.
Have you got a letter on your? Have you got a letter from a lawyer yet?
I let Summer deal with it because it was another lady. I'm like, Summer,
dog at large.
I said, Summer, I don't know this dog.
You might be doing community service here pretty soon with Lido.
I told Summer, I was like, you can take care of that. I'm so sorry that he did not knock her over. I'm like being defensive. But
you need to get a refund on the doctorate he received from this school of elitists.
Oh, the elitist Lido, his academy training. We are.
That's funny. Just
the timing is terrible.
That alone, the academy for a dog. Like, I'm sorry.
Hey, he had his own cap and gown.
Oh, you've got to be kidding me. Please tell me that's a joke. That's a joke.
It's not, well, maybe not a gown. I think it was a cute little cape, but he had a cap.
Oh my God.
A little thing, you kind of little cross it from the left to the right.
And he actually wore it?
Unwillingly. You just tie it on there good. I mean, we got a picture of it.
Could you imagine getting an invite from your friend or family member asking you to come and to attend a dog's graduation?
Well, that happened before we had him. all that stuff. We got to inherit the dog.
Yeah, well, you know.
But he came, like, she gave us his cap, and we put it on him one day.
Oh, my
And I will say, though, the moment that he was able to get that cap loose and his teeth could get a hold of it,
he ripped it to shreds.
he let us know what he thought about the cap.
He's like, no, I don't want this. I did not know.
That dog, no, cap and gown.
Oh, man.
Gone.
That's
It's
so
just
crazy.
a memory. So that's just our go-to word. So,
Well,
dog life.
Yeah, dog life. Well, you and I had some good food before we sat down to record this.
Oh, yeah, man.
Man, we went to a new barbecue place in
we
Moody,
did.
Alabama.
It was good, Rhett.
It is good.
Your neck of the woods got some good barbecue.
Yeah, it's a hole in the wall little mom and pop shop, and honestly, they were in another city about 20 minutes from here. There's that raving reviews, and then they opened up here, and I'm like, let's go.
Man, franchise.
Butts to go.
Is that what it was called?
That's the name.
Butts to go.
Butts to go.
I totally missed that name.
Barbecue butt.
Okay.
Yep.
It's really good.
So, eating before we sit down and have a conversation, man, I'm in that kind of food coma moment right now.
Yeah.
I had the beef brisket sandwich, and I asked the lady, I said, hey, man, I like really lean meat. She's like, oh, man, me too. There is absolutely no fat on this. I was like, okay, I'm going to trust you. And because I was like, can you give me the lean portions? And man, it was really lean. So I had the pork sandwich the other day, and now today I had the beef brisket. And I would say I like them both, but I think I might like the brisket a little bit better.
Really?
Yeah.
That comes, that's coming from a Texan.
Well,
Rhett's got some of them Texas years. So I trust your opinion
it was
on
good,
brisket.
man. I think Linda would really like it. Yeah. I mean, I was going to ask her for some burn-ins.
That's the determinant, or the determinant.
See,
Linda, if she likes it, because she is, she's Texas.
remember
girl
Mikey?
all the way.
Remember Mikey?
Mikey.
Give it to Mikey. Mikey will eat it. Mikey likes it. You don't remember the 80s commercials?
Yeah. Was that cereal?
Yeah, it was a cereal commercial.
Oh, I didn't know how you got on that. Okay, go
Yeah,
ahead.
well, like you were talking about, give it to Linda and let Linda know. It's like, it reminds me of Mikey.
Oh, yes.
So if you grew up in the 80s, it was a cereal
Mikey.
commercial. Like, hey, give it to Mikey. Mikey will eat it.
Yeah.
And then Mikey's eating it. It must be good. Mikey likes it. So everybody else starts eating it. It's like,
gosh.
your friend Mikey would be
remember
the guy that would try everything. He'd just sit there crunching away. And you're like, oh, Mikey likes it.
Mikey likes it.
So if Linda likes it, that will be the determining factor on whether or not the brisket is, at least Texas approved.
Before, of course, you having Linda out, her brother was the determining factor for me.
Yeah.
Jay Lee would let me know if something is good brisket or not.
So I was never really a brisket guy until I moved to Texas.
Yeah.
And then once you've had once you've had Texas brisket, it's so hard to say.
It's good, huh?
Once you've had it, man,
tastes good?
It's amazing. I don't know what was about to come out of my mouth. I promise you, I am in a food coma. I'm trying my best to put my words together. I mean, one of the last episodes we got on like poom or something. I'm like, what? I can't. It was my peas, and now it's Texas.
Yeah, Texas
Brisket. Anyways,
they know. Yeah, Texas is known for its brisket.
Yeah, and Alabama is known for its pork.
That's
and
right.
Every
And
state
white
has its
sauce.
different sauce. Yeah, I was amazed that there wasn't any white sauce at the table there.
It is interesting
Because Alabama is kind of known for,
but not everybody's always served white sauce.
Yeah.
It was always like Bob Gibson's in Decatur, and they are like the world-renowned barbecue place, and they would have white barbecue sauce.
It's so world-renowned.
Now
This
it's
is the
grown.
first time I've ever heard of it.
You've never heard of Bob Gibson?
Nope, not once.
Well, they're good.
No.
I don't know.
It's kind of like what's the barbecue place with the ribs? You're gonna say it, and I'm gonna. I can't even think of it. It's so popular.
Yeah, it was in
The
Tuscaloosa.
baby back ribs place.
Yeah,
Tuscaloosa. I know I could ask
it's got the-
Siri right now and Google and
It's like
get
the
it.
chef is the
Yeah,
is
yeah.
the mascot.
It's got the logo on it. Everybody that I talk to across the country,
people
like,
are
oh, have you
upset
ever
with us
had
now.
that? I'm like, yeah. I've had
What
it.
is the name of it?
Baby raised? No, hold on. You're yeah, no, don't look it up. No, don't look it up. I'm trying to figure it out without looking it up on the phone.
Okay,
Literally-
ribs.
Yeah, ribs.
It's not Full Moon.
no.
It's not Jim and Nick's. I know this.
No. Yeah, it's man, I see it.
Ironically, they put one in Birmingham near my house. And
Yeah.
it's the only place I don't go eat.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
In their world right now.
That's what I'm saying.
It's
What
one I
is the
don't go
name of
to.
this place? We got people listening to this episode going, guys, this is the name.
But
Spit it out.
appreciate the fact that we're not looking up Google.
No. We're
to
trying our
channel
best.
this,
But I think we're going to have
Birmingham.
to. It's baby back. No, it's
No,
like
that's,
it's baby.
Chili's.
It's not Baby Doe's. That's an old restaurant back in the day. What is it?
Let's see here.
Oh my gosh!
Best ribs in Birmingham, Alabama.
Here we go.
You gotta say Birmingham, Alabama. You gotta be clear about that. It's not Saul's. Oh
God.
And it's not Creekside. It is.
Hey friends, want to interrupt our conversation just for one moment to say thank you so much for joining us today, and also ask if you are enjoying this podcast. Could you do us a huge favor? Would you take a moment, pull the car over to the side of the road? If you're sitting at a red light, copy the link from your favorite podcast platform and send it to a friend. Text it to a friend. If you're in the office, airdrop it to a friend right now. Encourage somebody, put a smile on their face, and let them be a part of this conversation. All right, guys, it really means so much. It really does. Thank you for doing that. Okay, let's get back to the conversation.
It's not Saul's. Oh
God.
And it's not Creekside. It is Dreamland Barbecue. That's what you meant, right?
Dreamland Barbecue. Yep, that's the barbecue place.
But we got to give a shout out here because Dreamland, as far as ratings,
I don't think it's that great.
it's like you would think it would have like thousands upon thousands of reviews higher than anybody else.
Yeah.
But which is Birmingham's own Saul's Soul Kitchen
A lot better.
is almost caught up with them in,
Well, I think
in votes.
so. I remember with my dad before we would go, and I was a kid. I was forced to go to these games. It was a lot of fun, great memories. But he would take me to the Alabama games, and I remember we'd go to Tuscaloosa. We'd go to the original Dreamland,
And that was pretty
And
good.
I was a kid, but I wasn't really big. I was like the cheeseburger with like plain ketchup
Always.
only kind of guy.
Yes.
Like I missed out on so much as a kid. I was so picky.
We
And
loved
so
our
we'd go to those
cheeseburgers,
places
bro.
like that, and all I would eat is the bread and the dipping sauce.
Yeah.
Because they basically give you a loaf of bread
Yeah, they do. They
with
give
a
lot
rack of
bread.
ribs.
They do.
And my dad would throw down. I remember the sauce was amazing in the bread, but I just remember the moment in that place, in that room, and the smell of it. And I was just so good and waiting in line to get into it.
Yeah.
But I guess as I got older, when I actually tried it, they had opened up another location, and they've kind of like, what do you call it when you begin to duplicate?
Franchise.
Yeah, franchising type stuff. I don't know if they do franchises, but either way, they've just duplicated so many locations that they began to, I think, lose the quality.
Yeah, that happens.
Yeah.
With barbecue holidays.
Yeah, the
we have-
restaurant felt more bougie, more nice, and it wasn't like the little tin can hole in the wall place.
We
you
would
know?
go, our family, I wouldn't go, but like my dad or my pawpaw or my uncle would drive from where we're located in Birmingham, would drive out to Decatur. So, hour plus
Is that north?
from here, north of Birmingham, like you're heading towards Huntsville.
Okay.
And
Is that like the Dothan area?
That's where,
No. Is it
that would be
Dothan?
south. That's
Not Dothan. Sorry. What is Shoals? Coleman, Shoals.
Yeah.
Shoals.
Huntsville.
Yeah.
Okay, I was about to say Rhett.
Muscle Shoals.
There we go.
There's the word. Man,
So, I know
lived in
you've been
I
going
haven't-
wrong. You
I've
did
been-
not forget Dothan, the Peanut Festival. Come on,
no,
man.
I haven't lived in
the
Alabama in
beach.
years, and it's been people are like, well, it's over in Alabaster. I'm like, hold on, where is that at again? I can't remember.
Well, that's where. Oh my gosh, I'm mind blocking. We don't need to eat
It's
again.
Food coma. It's
We
crazy.
do not need to eat before we do a podcast because I can. What I just said it.
Dothan.
No, the place
Shoals?
up in
Coleman?
in Decatur.
Decatur.
Bob Gibson's. There
Oh
we go.
yeah. There you go.
We would drive to Bob Gibson's.
Okay.
Our family would
That's a
and bring
drive.
it all
That's a
and bring it
drive.
all the way back to my
That's
grandmother's
a
house.
commitment
It
to
is.
get barbecue.
Because they had the best coconut pie, they had the best lemon ice box, and they had the best chocolate pie.
I'm not a coconut guy. I like
And
coconut. I just don't like.
they
this
had the
is-
white sauce.
It's chewy, man. Coconut.
Yeah, I like it all right. The pie,
Yeah, it's
good.
chewy.
Lemon ice box is probably my favorite. Chocolate pie is really good.
Lemon pie, banana pudding. Man, she offered us some banana pudding today. I was like,
She did.
oh, I want it so bad, but I'm going
Yeah.
to say no.
We said no. We were strong.
Yeah.
I knew I was going to grab one of those raspberry granola bars out of your closet in a little while. Yeah.
You mean the fig bars? The
fig bars.
Nature's Bakery fig bars are really good. Yeah.
Yeah.
they're
It's
good.
not a.
It's
what
not
was
a
it?
cookie, mother. It's a fig Newton.
A fig Newton. It's not a cookie, mother. Those are good commercials.
Have you ever seen the movie Pixels with Adam Sandler?
Yes, a long time ago.
Man, we were
Wow.
flipping through Netflix last night and we found it, and I was like, okay, it's Adam Sandler. No telling what this thing's going to be like. And I do not approve everything that's in it, but we were like, okay, why not? So we watched it.
There's a qualifier.
Oh man, it was, bro. Like we laughed so hard. The reason I like with a Fig Newton reference and Mikey, he'll eat it. Like all of these are like '80s references.
Yeah.
And what so I am laughing a bunch because Adam Sandler in almost every movie, he's got so many references to the '80s, and the soundtrack is all '80s music.
Yeah.
And the movie was based off '80s arcade games.
Yes.
This alien invasion.
I remember that
they
about
sent-
the game. I
they
thought that was
sent
so
some
cool.
space capsule up in the '80s with like these video game stuff. They sent it out into outer space, thinking, well, like if there are aliens out there, they'll see it and see the Earth and the things we like and whatever. And so these aliens or whatever took it over and thought we were declaring war into outer space, and so they took our video games like Galaga and Pac-Man and Centipede, and they were actually like, it was so stupid.
They were becoming that.
They were actually like, that was the attack on America and on the world was these video games.
It was a prophecy of these video games came true.
And so the only people that can like save the world was Adam Sandler and this other arcade player or whatever, and so they were like nerds and nobodies, and they actually got called into action. Sorry if you've never seen the movie and I'm ruining for you, but
If they haven't seen it by now.
There's a lot of crazy puns that shouldn't be there. Okay, don't judge me, but like the overall movie, the '80s references. Yeah. That's where I was going with this. Is like it's like, oh my gosh, it brought me back to my childhood.
Well, yeah, you had an 80s reference today because we were talking about our favorite like Marvel movies, and your favorite superhero movie of the Marvels. You love Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh my god!
And I love how they theme the 80s songs.
Good.
Maybe late 70s. Yeah. With their music. It's probably more late 70s or early 80s, but it's like, because we were talking about that because you took on a really crazy task this weekend.
Yeah, I did.
At Disney.
Well, yeah, so I have a friend of mine and some friends, not just a friend, pastor in the Orlando area, and we went down to kind of celebrate some transitions that were happening there at their church. And instead of me going by myself, I was like, hey, let's take Max and Linda, let's go down, and we'll go down a day early, and then as a family, we'll do Disney for a day.
Yeah.
And if you've ever been to Disney World, it's ridiculously huge. They got their own highway, massive, infrastructure transit system. It's crazy. And so all the parks are really far apart, but they do a good job of being able to get you connected. But every time we've ever gone to Disney, it's been a minimum of 3 days.
Yeah, and this is Disney World of Orlando.
Yeah, Orlando, Florida, Disney World, not Disneyland. And so I had grown up going to Disney probably every 4, 6, 7 years or whatever. And so, we kind of have done the same thing with Max. And we hadn't been in like 7 to 8 years. And so there's a lot of new rides that did not exist. And we were like, okay, we've ridden some, but let's do something crazy. Yeah. Let's see if we can do all 4 parks in one day.
That's an undertaking.
And we
Holy
did.
moly.
We did. We left the hotel around 6-ish in the morning, and we were staying on site, which gives you the ability to actually enter the park before it opens to the public. So we went to Animal Kingdom, and we rode Mount Everest twice, like got on it, got off, and we didn't even have a lightning lane type thing to access. So we knocked that one out, and then we did Pandora, this whole flight thing, which was amazing. Yeah. And these are the ones we've never done before. And so I could talk for days about this, just those rides alone. Then we rode an Uber, because come to find out, the buses that run you from the parks, they do a lot of drop-offs, but they don't do pickups until after 10 a.m. Mm-hmm. And so I guess it's a way of trying to crowd control. So we call it a Lyft. Lyft comes, gets us from like 7-8 minutes. Man, we're at the entrance of Hollywood
really
Studios.
Smart, actually.
So my son loves Star Wars. Obviously, we saw the Millennium Falcon. We did Rise of the Resistance. Amazing ride. I could talk all day about that ride. And so we did that. And then around noon, we ended up leaving and going over to EPCOT. And so then there's 2 rides there. The Ratatouille's a new one we've never done. And then there was Guardians of the Galaxy.
And of course, EPCOT, if you've never been there, that's usually the one as you grow up, that's the boring part.
That's the absolute boring park. And they put like the best ride on the freaking planet in that. I'm telling you, dude. And I'm going to come back to that. And so then after that, we went over to Magic Kingdom. We got to Magic Kingdom around 6 or 7 o'clock, and it was staying open till 11:30. It was a late night there. So we're like, man, this is amazing, And we ended up only riding one ride, which was the Tron ride. I've never done that. I've done all the other ones. And so we did that. Anyway, so we did all 4 parks in one day. Now we did not go to the park to like really hang out and do the park, right?
Yeah.
We just went to do those rides and we didn't stay, hang out. Like we were on mission.
Yeah.
But dude, the Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind, bro, blew my mind.
At EPCOT.
I mean, dude, it's so
The boring part.
It's
EPCOT.
so the food is great there. Like if you're
true.
when
If
you're
you're feeling
older
international.
and you want to feel international and almost hit all the beautiful places, like they do
They
great.
have built a mini world.
It's unbelievable.
It's amazing architecture.
Yeah. But we weren't there for that. We were there like, hey, a day in, let's get everything we can. And so if you've never been to Disney World, this is not the way to do it.
Yeah, no.
No, if you've never been, this is not the way to do it. But we've been a couple times and we were just like, all right, my son's 17. Let's hit the big rides and let's go. And Guardians of the Galaxy, I almost don't want to really talk about the experience because I don't want to blow it for people who actually might want to go. So I will talk about the experience. So if you do not want to know and don't have any spoilers and you want it to be a full surprise, go ahead and just pause this episode right here and fast forward another 20 minutes in or whatever, and then we'll be past it probably. Okay.
See, we're about to talk about this for 20 minutes, you're saying.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know how long we'll talk about it, but I think here's there's a leadership lesson in this too. So it's a roller coaster and it's in the dark, and there's this whole storyline to where like you kind of get sucked out of Earth and you're out in outer space, and this evil person, whatever, is trying to bring attack on you or whatever. And the Guardians of the Galaxy find out, and there's this interaction. So this is a storyline leading up before you get on the ride.
Yeah.
And so they find out and they're like, man, we're going to be there and however long to get you, whatever, and so we get on this roller coaster at this point. And it looks like a normal roller coaster, like, cart 1 to cart. And I want to ride on the front, even though it's in the dark. I like riding in the front. It's fun. And so we end up getting in the back. And so we're a party of 3. So Linda and Max are behind me, and then I sit alone, but they pair a single rider, and they do this on purpose to keep the, line moving.
Yeah.
So they paired a single rider with me, and before the cart, the train left the station, if you will, this lady's like, oh, is this your first time? I'm like, yes. And do not tell me a thing.
Which is why you gave everybody a fair warning just now.
Oh, yeah. I was like, I don't want to know anything because I want this to be a surprise. I haven't watched a POV video. I have seen nothing on it. I've nothing, no reviews.
Let me tell the
nothing.
listeners real quick. Yeah. Hey, guys, this is not going to ruin anything for you. He told me all about it this morning, and I'm still going to enjoy it. It will not ruin it.
It can. Yeah, it can. It would for me if I was listening.
Well, way to get rid of listeners.
Yeah, I'm not trying to get rid of you. Maybe.
I do appreciate your compassion for their heart over
Spoiler alert.
wanting to have our listening base.
Spoiler alert. You get on this thing and the front seat is not the front seat. The back seat is the front seat, but you don't know this until the coaster starts.
Yeah, so the biblical lesson first.
The first shall be last and the last shall be first. Okay. So if you get the back seat, just know it's the front seat, but it doesn't feel like it until you get on the ride. So
if you don't like the front seat, don't get on the back seat.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And if you don't like going backwards either, don't ride this ride because it is like you think you're normal. Like you go, you pull in, you're in the dark, you're seeing the Guardians of the Galaxy stuff happening, and there's stories being told. And so you pull up to this one spot and you're flat. You're not going up a hill or nothing. You're just on a track and you're looking. There's this massive screen and the bad guys like threatening you. And then the Guardians of the Galaxy, the raccoon, the trash panda, Rocket.
I like the rabbit, the silly rabbit.
Rocket's like, guys, we got to get out of here, and all of a sudden the ride, as the bad guys like throwing some kind of fireball or something at you from this screen, the roller coaster then proceeds. Now I'm in the back seat. We're going backwards now, and it feels like 100 miles an hour. I know it's not, but it's in the dark, and all of a sudden it's going so fast, and you hit up this hill, again, dark, pitch black dark, and all of a sudden the cart itself, each individual cart begins to turn and to spin. And so the cart that I'm in, thinking it's the back seat, has now become the front seat, and the cart turns, and then all of a sudden it is just a bunch of joy and laughter from all the way to the end of this thing. Because if you've ever seen Guardians of the Galaxy, Drax, is that it?
Yeah.
When he just laughs, he laughs.
He always laughs.
And he just keeps laughing. That kind of sounds like Santa Claus. I don't
Merry Christmas.
Oh, man, I laughed. When that cart spun, we were going backwards, and now we're in the front, and this cart's spinning. You're watching this video screen. You see all the stars in the sky, and the whole goal is that you're so far away from home. The Guardians of the Galaxy have now rescued you, and you're going through time really fast to get back to Earth. It's a 4-minute ride. It feels like it never ends, and you are laughing the whole time. And the music, man, the soundtrack.
Yeah.
I mean, it is, from what I found out later, is that they have several different songs that they play. So every time you ride it, it's a different experience
that's
with
cool.
a different musical background.
But we know it's going to be late 70s, early 80s.
Oh, easy. Yeah.
That's their style.
And it was one way or another. We're gonna get you. We're gonna get you one way. You know what? Man. And I'm laughing, and dude, I feel like I'm a 7, 8 years old laughing. I am giggling, not like a school. Dude, I am laughing. And I can hear Max and Linda were screaming, but it's laughter. And I laugh for 4 minutes straight. And when it ends and it comes in, I won't tell you how you come in flying around the moon and doing the circles around the moon. It's unbelievable. I know. Well, it's amazing.
I'm not going to tell you how you fly and doing circles around the moon. I'm not going to tell you about that.
There's a massive, massive moon. And then all of a sudden, after you've kind of spin around the moon a ton, and then it is just laughter upon joy, upon so much fun, and you feel like you're with the Guardians. You feel like you're being rescued. And then you get to Earth, and I am laughing. And we pull into the station, and people are laughing. It just brought so much joy and laughter, and it was, I don't know, man. If you've ridden the ride, you know what I'm talking about. But it is, I would go back to Orlando to spend the crazy money
to ride that
again.
Yeah, it sounds phenomenal.
It was so fun.
Yeah.
And so we had a good time. And I'll tell you, man, I think I walked like 25,000 steps in one day. My legs were
5-mile walk-in.
My feet were burning. The back of my legs. It wasn't until yesterday afternoon that I could start feeling my legs again. But then Sunday was amazing. And here's something that I share with you, was that Saturday, although it was so much fun, it was great joy. Sunday, with the experience with the pastor in the local church and just the celebration of commissioning that was happening that day, that was fulfilling.
Yeah.
So we had fun.
So good.
We had fun on Saturday, but we were fulfilled as a family on Sunday.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to over spiritualize things, but it got me to thinking, and we began to talk about this as a family. Disney spent $500 million on a 4-minute ride that would bring you laughter that's not lasting. It's fun, but it's not fulfilling. It leaves you wanting more. And I think Disney does a beautiful job trying to take the money and the resources in this world to create a moment of peace, of joy, and to get your mind out of where your reality is, to paint a picture of what you're hoping for and you're longing for, and you get a little taste of that, and it's good and it's fun, but it's not lasting and it's not fulfilling.
Yeah.
And so they build this you got to go more and more and more and get it. And, you keep feeding yourself with it. And again, there's nothing wrong with it. It's great. But the fulfillment came in a small church with a few small people hearing testimonies and stories of life change of atheists who have given their heart to Jesus. And now the pastors were a part of this just beautiful story in people's lives.
Well, it also just had us thinking, I think my response to you after you told the story is, I think in our conversations, we naturally go there. And it was the fact that, in Isaiah, I was just kind of talking to you about, if you read like Isaiah, I think it's 6:1-8, you have Isaiah having this vision of the heavenlies.
Yeah.
And it's God on his throne, which you can't even really see him because he's just so majestic. But the seraphim, the angels, are there, and all they can say is holy, holy, holy.
Yeah.
And there's two different sides of that. The first one, they've been saying holy, 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 for eternity now. And it would be easy to think, how boring is that going to be? Mm-hmm. But I've heard it said before, with every holy, there's a new revelation of who God is. Mm-hmm. And it's a natural response, like being on that ride. In man's mind, what we can make up.
Oh, man.
think of the infinite brilliance that God is, and they're still seeing that after an eternity.
Yep.
So from the moment they were created by God, they have not stopped saying holy because they're having the time of their life. It's a fresh ride that has no end. They're seeing how holy God is. And so we just began to talk about when Isaiah sees that in Scripture, you'll also notice if there's like one word that's said, like gold.
Yeah.
When we see pure gold, there's sometimes in the original text, it actually doesn't say pure gold. It says gold, gold.
Yeah. Same
Like
thing with holy, holy.
It wasn't just gold.
Yeah.
And so now the same thing in that other side of holy, holy, they weren't just saying holy, they were saying holy, holy.
Yeah.
But they weren't just saying holy, holy. They were saying holy, holy, holy.
Right.
3 times, which is almost
bringing so much emphasis to that word
huge,
that
infinite.
the Hebrew had to write it a couple of times to say this,
Yes.
like it goes beyond. It's more than a double portion. It's like way beyond what you could possibly imagine a holy
infinite.
is.
And
It's
how Isaiah,
exactly.
he saw that. When he saw that, the presence of God, his first response when he recognized that was just, he was filled with awestruck wonder. And really that healthy fear of God. It was knees trembling. And he sees that, and his next response is humility, because he recognizes, who am I of unclean lips? Not even just himself. He's like, who are we? So he's just recognizing God didn't say anything. He just, in his presence, he recognized something, which ended up taking him to the next place of, he repented. He had a repentant mindset, and the angel takes the coal, cleanses his lips. We know that Scripture. Maybe you're listening, you actually don't know that Scripture, so I shouldn't just assume. I'm correcting what we said last week.
Yeah.
And not just that, he's filled with purity after that, just a peace and a spirit. And then God says, who will go for us? And he says, I will go. And so to get to know a little bit, from what I've studied on Isaiah, he actually came from royalty of some sort, whether it was family or whether he was just a part of the king's house. Even there's a scripture that says when King Uzziah died, like he was very close to King Uzziah, and it might have even been family. But the point is, Isaiah was from a very lucrative home. He hung out with the elitos.
Yeah.
His dog would have been Elito.
Yeah.
And that's what he was used to. So he was used to some form of living, but in that instant moment with God,
Nothing compared to that.
and when God says, who will go for us? He says, I will go, send me. And he even says it emphatically, if you look at the text.
Yeah.
And so when I see that, the mission that God gave him was in fact nothing awesome. It wasn't, God didn't say, you're about to go change the world and be a world changer, and people will know you from all over. You're going to be the next biggest thing. Maybe God says that to some.
Yeah.
But in this case, he's basically saying the work you're going to do is not going to be effective, but go and do this. And all these trees are going to be cut down. He basically gives an assignment that earthly eyes, we would look and say, ooh.
Yeah.
But God did say, but within one of these stumps, there will be the seed. And he's prophesying for the seed that's leading to Jesus and the saving power and the saving grace. The point that I make on all that is Isaiah saw something that he no longer cared of the level of how awesome it is to have your assignment from God. He was willing to do anything, because anything that kept him tethered to that awestruck wonder, that 4-minute Disney ride that can't even compare to the wonder of God.
Yeah.
When we are captivated by him, that's why I believe you when you say you had this amazing day of you seeing some amazing innovation by people. I can't wait to go and see it.
It's unbelievable.
But then you went to a very ordinary service the next day with just very few people.
Yeah.
And you encountered the living God. And it was something that cannot be explained, but there was more fulfillment
100%.
in that accomplishment than accomplishing knocking out 4 parks in one day.
100%. Yeah. I think that's, when we were talking about that over lunch a little bit, we were sharing that and thinking, man, this would be a good conversation to bring people in on. I think this world, like everybody's looking for hope. They're looking for fulfillment, and they're trying to find it in so many different ways. In the world, they do a really good job of trying to create a counterfeit heaven and the count. Like I was thinking about the Avatar, the flight, Pandora. Like it's if you're watching the movie Pandora and you see how beautiful it is, like Disney creates this world that you walk into and you feel like you're in it. And then you're actually on this ride and you're immersed in it with 3D. So they do everything they possibly can to get you to immerse yourself in this moment that doesn't last, but that your soul longs for. And whether or not you can pinpoint that and know, like there's this hole we're all trying to fill, right? And so having that hole already been filled, I can enjoy it. And I know it doesn't fulfill me. But like in this moment, like the Pandora's flight thing, you're flying, it's not a dragon, it's a banshee, and you're flying and you feel like you're in the air. Like you go through waterfalls and water splashing on you. You go through these flowery moments and you smell the aroma of the flowers, and you're like soaring hundreds of feet in the air, and it's all visual arts and, perspective shifts. But like it brings a tear to your eye. Like I'm like a grown man. I'm like, oh my God, this feels like heaven. And then it ends and you're like, this is not heaven. This was all manufactured. Right?
Yes.
But it speaks to the need of humanity for the hope of eternity and the hope of the glory and the hope of the all of God. And so that's why when I go and you experience this fun, it's not lasting, but then you go and you experience something very simple, but yet so powerful that can speak to your soul.
Yeah.
In a way that is so rewarding and so like, oh, okay, man, this is what it's all about. And you ready for this? It revolves around relationships and people, man.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's the people aspect. It's the stories. It's the conversations. It's that to me, those are the moments that really stood out and go, man, we did have fun yesterday, but man, there's nothing like being in the presence of God with God's people. Yeah. Until you experience it, man, like I'm telling you, man, like I know people argue this all day long, but I'm not at the mercy of an argument because I had the experience.
Yeah, that's right.
Right. And so,
and I think there's an encouragement too that we live in the now and the not yet. So when I say we live in the now, we have these opportunities for these extraordinary moments and these ordinary moments. You just described an extraordinary moment and it was great. But you described this ordinary moment that was eternal. And that's all we can do right now is be in the now. And we'll talk about the not yet in a moment. But when you're living in the now, I feel like the reference to Spaceballs. We're in now.
Now. When?
Just then. Right now. Now.
What happened to then? Missed it. When? Just now.
But literally, we live in the now. And it's just like Isaiah. It might not have been this epic achievement. It might have been this seed that was planted, within this stump that was already cut down.
Yeah.
But something eternally epic happened with that. And he didn't necessarily see it, but it would happen thousands of years later. And so this now is learning this contentment of God has amazing purpose for every one of us. And we're going to find it in the ordinary now that's happening. But when we talk about the not yet, that's eternity. And I do believe when we get to have fun, the reason we go to theme parks, the reason we crave this excitement, God has wired us for this.
But you're putting eternity in
and
our
we
hearts.
know that we can't accomplish that level on earth right now. Our bodies couldn't stand it.
Yeah.
I just happen to believe, he's made this universe we can't even comprehend that is, now people are like, there's actually more than one, it's all this stuff. We're in the not yet, we're going to have our minds blown by God. The places that we'll get to explore, I can only imagine.
Yeah.
And get to come back just to be in his presence and get to go. And God's omnipotent. It's like he's there with us. He's here. Our minds can't even comprehend the wild ride that is going to be eternity, which will have us saying at all times, holy, 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 because it's just, we're not going to believe it. It's like the day you wake up and something awesome happens and you're like, oh my gosh, this day's awesome. Yeah. And something keeps happening. But then this is now, it's going to shut down on you.
See, to me, it's that laughter that I had at the end of the whole ride.
Yes.
I was just laughing because I was overtaken by the surprises and the things that I wasn't expecting.
Yes.
And it was like, wow, this is way beyond what I could ever imagine a roller coaster ride
Your
ever
brain
being.
can't take it.
I couldn't take it. And all I could do is laugh.
Right.
And when I got off I was still laughing and we were laughing. We were walking out. And I could only think that, eternity in heaven, it's going to be that times a gazillion more than we could even possibly think or imagine, based off of what Scripture teaches us. Is so to me, like, that's why I can't wait for heaven. I mean, like, I'm grateful. I'm created to live in the now and on earth, and I'm going to do everything I can to make the most of it. And but I'm not living for now. I'm living for eternity, because the joy that awaits me through Christ Jesus. But even the kingdoms and the universes and the galaxies and all this stuff that we don't really talk a lot about, but that's in the book of Revelation, that is just going to be blow our mind. And so like, I laugh and it's like that rejoice. And again, I say rejoice because like, great is your reward.
Fresh revelation every second.
Yeah. You thought that ride that was just had you giggling and laughing the whole time, like, was amazing. You just wait, man. The ride that I'm going to take
God's
you on.
like, I gave this guy or girl who made that ride, I gave them a sliver of the innovation I have.
Yes.
Here's an eternity of, you thought that was something. Buckle up.
On the next episode of Armchair Authentic,
that person who's got 80, 90, 100, 200, that is as beautiful an expression as this mammoth of a church. They're both an expression of the body of Christ. There's a balance that we should be appreciating,
which is obedience.
The body of Christ. And it requires a heck of a lot of humility to be able to do that. Not everybody needs to remember you. You need to be a good steward of who God has put in your life and make an impact on who those are, whether it's 10 or whether it's 1,000. But you do want to be a faithful steward, whether you were given the 5 talents, the 2 talent, or the 1 talent.
At the end of the day, did you do what was in your heart to serve people well? Great. Same thing with large church, small church. It's like, are you being obedient to what God's put in your heart? And ultimately, are you content that God is enough for you?
You might not be a leader that's out front of everybody, but everybody could aspire to be a pillar.
Well, what do pillars do? They support. In other words, they lay their lives down to see other people lifted. Man, we cannot wait until that conversation next Monday. It's going to be so much fun. But until then, we simply want to say thank you so much for taking the time to share the link with a friend, texting it, emailing it, airdropping it. However you're doing so, it just means so much to us. Thank you for your support and your love, friends. We cannot wait to continue this journey next week right here at Armchair Authentic. Until then, have a great week. Stay safe. God bless you, and we will see you real soon.